track for you.
All right, so if you haven't heard, there is a socialist Muslim Indian rapper, former rapper, who was raised in Central Africa, who is running to be the next mayor of New York City. And with just a couple of weeks before the primary election, polls are showing that it's not just possible, but it seems like there's a pretty good chance that he's gonna win and become the next mayor of New York City. I've been championing. I've been supporting him for a while, and his name is Zohran Kwame Mamdani. His mom is a revered Indian filmmaker, and his dad is a Central African anthropologist whose work I actually leaned very heavily on to make a video about Congo, which you should watch after this video. I don't know where I'll link it, but somewhere up there. But I'm assuming since you clicked this video, you probably already know at least a little bit about Zohran's platform. So let's cut to the chase and talk through the magic of these videos, including a little surprise, ultra rare video at the very end.
New York is suffering from a crisis, and it's called halalflation. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of this. How much does a plate of halal cost right now from this truck?
$10.
$10.
Chicken over rice, lamb over rice, $10.
Okay, so if you live in New York City, you know that this is one of the most pervasive issues, like just normal everyday issues that you don't have in effectively any other city on the planet. If you talk with someone from, like, I don't know, suburban Minneapolis or whatever, they're not talking about halalflation. But the issue is you go to a halal cart and you try to get a chicken over rice, lamb over rice type of thing. And just like this is saying right here, it's like $10, sometimes $12, which is insane because just a few years ago, it could have been as cheap as like $5. But now it's more than doubled in price. And highlighting that everyday issue that so many people feel, I feel like it's such a direct call to like the common working man. Like you're not seeing Andrew Cuomo walking around on the streets eating halal food. Like there's no chance. He's going to his fine dining restaurants. He's going to his Peter Luger's if he ventures, into Brooklyn.
How much do you have to pay for your permit?
Before it was $22K.
17,000.
How much does a license cost if you get it from the city?
I think 400.
And who are you paying?
The permit owner.
You're not paying the city.
No.
You pay the permit owner $22,000 just so you can sell this food.
Yes.
And who is this?
A random guy.
If you have to pay rent to some dickhead who has the permit and there's no chance for you to get a permit directly from the source, which costs less than, I don't know, what is it, a tenth of what the actual permit costs? That's crazy. Of course you're going to jack up the prices. Yeah, that makes total sense. This is the exact same problem that we see with rents going sky high, where there's this class of people who exclusively make their income by jacking up the price of having a roof over your head. And it makes sense because in that case, of course, it's much worse. But the point is, if you have that constant overhead cost, in this case, of course, it's rent. But in the case of halal carts, the fee that you have to pay to some jackass in the middle between you and the city government, yeah, of course, you're going to have to increase prices. You could have someone like Whitney Tilson who stands in a Costco and goes, oh, well, actually, my solution for the high grocery prices is to bring in more Costcos. But he has no charisma, no riz. He looks like a type of guy who, if you see him in a bar, even if you're a dude, you're going to cover your drink because you're creeped out by the guy. Zohran goes into these halal carts, stands next to the guy in his halal cart and chats him up and has an honest conversation. And I feel like, love him or hate him, there's something to be said about that.
These are the 4 bills that are sitting in the city council right now, which would give these vendors their own permits and make your halal more affordable. But Eric Adams hasn't said a single word about them. If you own the permit, then how much would you charge for the plate?
$7.
$8.
$8.
If I was the mayor, I'd be working with city council from day one to make halal $8 again.
I'm not kidding. If he were to run solely on this one issue, make halal $8 again, I guarantee he could get at least 10% of the vote.
Fíjense, nadie sabe pronunciar mi apellido. Es Mamdani.
Es Mamdani, pero a cada rato me dicen Monari. When this video came out, there was so much backlash from insane organizations like the New York Post, who said that he used like AI to do this or something like that, which is hilarious because they released the behind the scenes afterwards, and listening to him trying to perfect his Spanish, it's hilarious.
Pero en estos días. Sorry. Construir 200,000 viviendas nuevas y permanentemente inquilino tiene. Y asegurarme I have no idea.
So 50.9% of residents of New York City speak only English. However, that means half of residents do not speak English in their household. And of that half, 50% of those speak Spanish. That's almost 2 million residents out of 7.8 million total who only speak Spanish at home. Having a video like this in which you can communicate so directly with the populace who you are trying to represent and trying to not just like pander to them, but win their vote, earn their vote, show them that like you care about them. So much so to the point where you're willing to sit down and learn some lines in Spanish. That's insane. That's incredible. You can see the shadows on the building behind him, right? So there's some pretty direct light. By the time this video is over, it is literally nighttime. It is literally nighttime. Like very clearly, this took him hours to, learn the lines, learn the Spanish, practice. That shows his commitment to the bit. And that is something that whether you speak Spanish, English, Hindi, whatever it is, like it's going to resonate with you. And speaking of Hindi,
भाइयों और बहनों, इस इलेक्शन में सिर्फ 20 दिन बचे हैं और चॉइस मेरे और एंड्रू कोमो के बीच में है.
honestly, you might see this and be really impressed that he's speaking a different language. But Zohran actually has a little bit of history of doing just that. He knows, and he's played this up very well, that this type of video is going to go nutty in the WhatsApp group chats. Like the aunties are going to be sending this around. They're going to be going nuts. Seeing some goofy American, New York City mayoral candidate speaking your native tongue that basically no one in politics in America speaks in is a huge deal.
ये है जो एंड्रू कोमो ऑफर कर रहा है.
आज मेरे पास बिल्डिंगें हैं, प्रॉपर्टी है, बैंक बैलेंस है, बंगला है, गाड़ी है, क्या है तुम्हारे पास?
Throwing in the Bollywood cutscenes is crazy.
पर बात ये नहीं है कि मैं क्या बनूंगा. बात ये है कि मैं क्या करूंगा हमारे कम्युनिटीज के लिए और हर एक न्यूयॉर्कर के लिए. मैं हमारे शहर को अफोर्डेबल बनाऊं.
One of the most important parts of these videos is hammering home his core platform. Obviously, it's centered around affordability. Within that, you have freezing the rent, making buses fast and free, universal childcare. And then beyond that, an extension of this platform that we've seen in the past couple months is introducing city-run grocery stores. Very clearly, this is not some sort of social war issue. This is saying things are too damn expensive. I want to make all these things cheaper, more affordable for you, in addition to making your halal $7 again.
न्यूयॉर्कर्स मुश्किल से अफोर्ड कर रहे हैं रोटी, कपड़ा और मकान. मैं ये सब बदलने के लिए लड़ रहा हूँ. रेंट फ्रीज, फ्री बसेस, यूनिवर्सल चाइल्ड केयर और सस्ती ग्रोसरीज के जरिए.
There it is. There it is. It hits. It hits.
पर आपको एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ.
The low frame rate Bollywood shout out. It's just, it's pure cinema.
तुमने कभी किसी को वोट किया? कभी किसी को रैंक किया?
See, this is what I'm saying. He's got the aunties. If you can win the auntie vote, it's game over. You win. You win.
देखो, यहाँ न्यूयॉर्क सिटी में हम रैंक चॉइस वोटिंग यूज करते हैं. इसका मतलब है कि सिर्फ एक कैंडिडेट को चूज करने के बजाय आप 5 कैंडिडेट्स तक को रैंक कर सकते हो अपनी पसंद के हिसाब से. सोचिए, ये 5 लस्सिया कैंडिडेट्स हैं और मैं ये वाला हूँ. ये
Whipping out the mango lassi to demonstrate ranked choice voting.
सिस्टम ऐसे काम करता है. सबसे पहले फर्स्ट चॉइस वोट्स काउंट होते हैं. जिस कैंडिडेट के वोट सबसे कम होते हैं उसे हटा दिया जाता है. लेकिन अगर वो आपका पहला चॉइस था तो आपका वोट खत्म नहीं होता है. वो आपके नेक्स्ट चॉइस को चला जाता है. ये प्रोसेस तब तक चलता है जब तक किसी कैंडिडेट के पास आधे से ज्यादा वोट्स ना हो जाएं.
The 3D confetti effect. Beautiful. Cinema.
आप जितने ज्यादा लोगों को रैंक करते हो उतनी ज्यादा आपकी बैलेट और आवाज में ताकत होती है. इसलिए मैं चाहता हूं कि आप मुझे, ज़ोहरान ममदानी को, अपने बैलेट पे पहले नंबर पे रैंक कीजिए. और सिर्फ मुझे नहीं, बाकी बैलेट भी जरूर भरना. ये 3 दूसरे कैंडिडेट्स हैं.
And okay, see, here's the thing. It's like, it's not just me. I have this entire coalition of folks around me, and it's huge for, these folks as well. Brad Landers, Adrian Adams, Velner Myrie, because they see this and they say, oh, hey, he's co-endorsing me in these videos to a demographic that otherwise I frankly would just not reach.
जिनको आप रैंक कीजिए. लेकिन एक बात याद रखना, एंड्रू कोमो को रैंक नहीं करना.
Look at this X. It is so janky and it is so beautiful and it fits so well with the theme of this video, where it feels a little rough around the edges in the most beautiful, authentic way possible, while nailing the things that really matter. Nailing, obviously, the messaging, the authenticity, and then in terms of the actual media itself, nailing the audio quality, nailing like the way that the image actually looks. Phenomenal job.
बैंक नहीं करता। उसका कैंपेन ट्रंप के डोनर्स के पैसों से चल रहा है। अगर वो जीता तो डीसी के साथ-साथ एनवाईसी भी उनका होगा। विश्वास नहीं होता तो खुद उनसे सुनिए कि क्या होगा अगर कोमो जीता तो। बिलियनियर्स के पास ऑलरेडी सब कुछ है। अब आपका टाइम आ गया।
If you've stuck around long enough to get to the end of this video, I have a present for you. It's been known for a while that Zohran was a rapper. He would try to sell mixtapes. He went on Breakfast Club and talked about this very thing where he would go into like the taxi vans and try to sell mixtapes. Got a lot of rejection that way. It didn't go well, thankfully. And here we are. However, this video has recently surfaced. And by that, I mean it came across my Twitter feed. And I feel like you need to see it.
أنا دوكو دانتي حق كاليبا people like it basaja balaba asasi mardadi fisasi kanda milani tegutu fisase too much beauty you don't need a dress bring it up yo jibu nana hilu zaidi je banana talkum kul kanda manna chop
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I don't know what else to say. Can you imagine Andrew Cuomo rocking this shit? Imagine Andrew Cuomo trying to rap. Imagine Andrew Cuomo trying to sell a mixtape. Imagine Andrew Cuomo on the street acting like a normal fucking person. That is so good.
Chop it up, chop it up, chop it up, chop it up. Kanda, eno mere. Kanda, be a bad baby. Kanda, tell me if you feel it. Kanda, do it when you're ready. Kanda, kabina kanene. Kanda, hands up in the air like Kanda, eno mere. Kanda.
I'm going to imagine this is in Uganda, probably when he was being raised in, what's it, Kuala Lumpur? Where the fuck? No, sorry, that's Malaysia. Kampala. Kuala Lumpur or Kampala. I'm going to assume that this is back in Uganda where he was raised. And the thought of a South Asian dude rocking out with like the local Ugandan folks and trying to make a rap career while wearing whatever the equivalent, whatever the name is of their local tortilla on his face is hilarious. And then combining that with the fact that there's a good chance that this is going to be the next mayor of New York City makes me so excited. And it'll be cool just to have like a normal politician in a time where it feels like every politician is a psychotic, bloodthirsty monster. Beautiful. All right. That's Zohran Mamdani. Whatever you do, do not rank Andrew Cuomo. He's a sex pest. He killed Schlatt's grandma. He killed a bunch of other grandparents as well. He's not a good dude. And listen, if you're wondering where you should rank Zohran Mamdani on June 24th in the New York City mayoral primary election,